Hello. I'm going to make this so you don't have to stare at that awful light. See if a few people come and join us for the first ever live recap of my OY. I might as well just get started. Mariners lose 8-5 in 11 innings. I think I put 10 in the description. Wish it was only 10. Go over the scoring plays real quick. Teoscar Hernandez hits a sacrifice fly to score J.P. Crawford. Big dumper homers to left center to make it 3-0 after the first inning. Logan O'Hoppe decides that he doesn't like the Seattle Mariners very much. Hits a homer in the second that scores Mike Kostakis. Also homers in the fourth to tie things at 3. Nothing happens from the fourth inning to the ninth inning in terms of scoring plays anyway. And then in the 10th, Brandon Drury homers to left with Jordan Adams on base. 5-3. Julio Rodriguez ties the game with a home run in the 10th off of, I don't even remember who it was at this point. But Angels get 3 in the 11th. Mariners get none in the 11th. Mariners lose. Before I get into answering your questions and going over positives and negatives, thank you, Simply Seattle, for sponsoring the show. If you're looking for anything Seattle Mariner related, Kraken related, Seahawk related, Sonics related, I have my Tumblr right here. Beautiful. Go Sonics. Love that cup. Anything you're looking for Seattle sports related, you can find at simplyseattle.com, and make sure you use code MOLLYWOP15 because that will save you 15% off of your order. There'll be a link in the description when I'm done. I'll edit all this stuff. But thank you so much, Simply Seattle. Matthew says it was a fun ride, and I'm stoked for the coming years. We're officially on the outside looking in, so I'm switching off the stress, playing with house money. I don't blame you. I don't blame anybody for feeling any kind of way right now. Let's go over some positives. Julio had an awesome game and one of the most clutch homers of his career. It's a very short career. Congratulations on joining the 30-30 club. Pretty darn cool. It's not going to mean as much, because of how stolen bases are, but there are not a lot of people who have hit this club, and to do it at the age of 22 is pretty darn awesome. Big Dumper had a nice day. Unfortunately, he gets removed as a pinch runner in a situation that we can talk about a little later, but yeah, he had a nice day. I thought Logan Gilbert pitched pretty well. A couple of mistakes to O'Hoppe, who definitely has power. It's nice to see. I don't want to say too many positive things about the Angels, but it's kind of nice to see him back on the field. I did not know if we would see him because that was such a pretty gruesome injury. It sounded like that was going to be something that held him out to 2024, but good for him. Matt Brash pitched well. Matt Brash pitched actually really well. Andre Munoz got out of the adventure. Oh, the ninth inning is just going to absolutely kill me here. But Munoz does give up a couple hits, gets a huge strikeout. Like that he was challenging hitters. He pitched fine. Brash and Munoz did their job. And we just get into the negatives. Everybody else did not. Everybody else on this team did not. Justin Topa was awful. He only gives up the 2-run homer to Brandon Drury, but his command was wretched again. Didn't hit his spots at all. Then leaves a 0-2 pitch right down the middle of the flipping plate. He's looked terrible as of late. He had one appearance that gave me some hope, and then after that, it was absolutely awful. Trent Thornton couldn't finish off hitters. Gabe Spire couldn't finish off hitters. Isaiah Campbell threw one pitch. The bullpen was bad today. It was very bad, and it's disappointing because it got off to a nice start. And Munoz does perform that Houdini act. He does perform that Houdini act and is able to get through that against a bad team. Here's the problem with this loss too, folks. Any loss at this point is terrible, but losing to a team as bad and not trying and not wanting to win as the Angels right now is pathetic. It's just pathetic. This is a pathetic loss. And look, the offense wasn't great today. Nice to see Kelnick back. Does get a hit. But we got to talk about that ninth inning because It's hard doing these live. It's hard to, you guys know I don't edit my videos anyway. You know that. It should be very clear that I don't edit the videos. Every once in a while I can hit the pause button, but that's it. By the way, how does my microphone sound? I've never done live on the YouTube stuff before. I've done live through StreamYard, but does everything sound okay? If somebody could just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Sounds good. Thank you. Cal Raleigh gets a base hit. Suarez gets his one hit. We'll talk about Suarez in a second. Ty France gets his only hit. You've got bases loaded and nobody out. And Jared Kelenic has an atrocious at bat. The last pitch was a good pitch by Loop. I'm going to give him credit for that. That was a nice little slide piece. But he put himself in that position with those first 2 pitches. If you get down 2 strikes, you're in danger of a slide piece getting you. Dylan Moore grounds out pathetically. And the Mariners got very lucky even on that play because I have no idea what Eugenio Suarez was doing. None. Bases loaded, and he's still standing on second base. And thank good the catcher isn't just looking, right? Thank goodness the catcher isn't paying attention. But it doesn't matter because Dominic Kinzone, who had 2 wretched at-bats in this game. Let me look at some questions here. And then I want to talk about Suarez some more. Are we just cursed and staying good? Like, yeah, I'm saying it. The Seattle Mariners are cursed. They've made a lot of mistakes, but I think it's fair to say they're just cursed. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel better to say the Mariners are cursed. It's not anybody's fault. It's not Tapota's fault. It's not Service's fault. It's not the players' fault. It's the Mariners are cursed. That's what I'm going with. Doesn't it make you feel better to say it? Let's see. Anything else here? I have so many negative thoughts. Hi, Nelson. Running through my head, but Tapota deserves a pink slip. Breaking the drought is enough. He's had 14 years as GM. He's awful. I respectfully disagree that he's awful. I'm not sure he's good enough, and I'm leaning more and more towards the fact that he may just not be good enough. I think he's done a really nice job with some stuff, but he hasn't finished the roster. I think more blame goes to the ownership group, to be honest with me, and to you. To be honest with me, I have to be honest with me. I put more blame towards the fact that I've been told multiple times that Dipoto has tried to get things done, some big things done, and ownership has said no. It is what it is in that regard. However, with the budgetary constraints, I'm not sure if Dipoto is good enough. The Suarez thing. So you make that huge mistake in the field. Huge mistake in the field. That's actually a really good comp. Zach says, so Jerry Dipoto is UW era Steve Sarkisian. Yeah. I think maybe, yeah. That's not a bad comp at all. And that's a nice little distraction because I really like Eugenio Suarez, so I don't love saying negative things about him. But he's been a disaster as of late. He makes that huge mistake at second base. And luckily it doesn't matter because Kinzone's at bats are so bad. But for Suarez to do that and then to make that error, and look, who knows if the Mariners win or not? They didn't score any runs. But it sure is a different game if you're only down 1 instead of being down 2 or 3. And he olayed that ball. He flat out olayed that baseball. And it's not acceptable. It's absolutely not acceptable. Suarez has done a lot of good things for the Seattle Mariners. His defense for most of the year has been fantastic. But those are 2 massive mistakes. Real quick as well, Dominic Kinzone's at bat in the 8th inning in a tie game, gets 2 pitches absolutely down the middle of the plate that he once he fouls off, one he swings through, and then in between that he swings at a pitch over his head. And no, Nelson, that there's much more to it than that. There are massive moves that the Seattle Mariners could have paid other than Ray and Gossman and Story and Bryant. Massive moves that the Seattle Mariners have turned down. Not Dipoto turning down the Mariners. Can't tell you what they are. Never will. But I can tell you right now, there are moves that Jerry Dipoto could have made that would make this team a heck of a lot better. This ownership group sucks. And yeah, Julio Rodriguez, if you want to be positive and take something from this game, it's that Julio Rodriguez is going to be the best player in baseball someday. He's pretty darn good right now. Someday he's going to be the best player in baseball. It's just real pathetic to, outside of the 10th inning, to only score 3 runs against the Angels. And from the 2nd inning through the 9th inning, you did nada. Nada. What's the deal with America's leanest bacon? Is that really something that should be advertised? Heck no, Ron. Heck no. Give me that fatty bacon. Look, you don't get a beautiful body like this without having some bacon that isn't so lean. Good guy vibes only guy is not bringing any good vibes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Ron asks, what do you do with Ty France? You play him at first base for the rest of the year and you upgrade that position. You absolutely upgrade that position. I would be willing to say, if you can't upgrade it, like if there's not an obvious first base type out there, because I can't think of anyone right now, I would be willing to go put Canzone at first base and then going to get a better outfielder. Because I feel like Teoscar's not coming back. You've got to make a lot of changes next year. Even if you make the postseason, heck, even if you win the World Series, this team has changes to make, folks. There are places that you can upgrade all over the field. The only places you're feeling super confident right now are Crawford at second base, I would hope, but if not, shortstop, okay. Julio, Kelnick in one of the outfield spots. I'm going as far as saying I want Kelnick starting. I know that it's been up and down. I want him there. And that's pretty much it. You can upgrade on Suarez. You can upgrade everywhere else too. And of course, if I didn't say so, Big Dumper, a catcher, obviously. But Ty France cannot be locked into a starting role next year. Can't be. Absolutely cannot be. Vinny Pasquantino would be nice if Royals trade him. Maybe, probably not. I could see a move making sense there, though. I love Pasquantino. That's a pretty good call. Yeah, and like you said, Matthew, 3 runs in the first inning. Get off to an excellent start, as they did a bunch during that road trip. And there were some times where they fell down 3-0 too, so don't get me wrong. But you just don't have any confidence in the pitching right now. There's no reason that the confidence that I would have in June of this team having a 3-0 lead is much different in September. Shohei at first, hey, he could play it. He could play it. You probably can't do it because he's not going to be able to throw, but should be able to hit. Oh, Nelson, that sucks. What are you getting at Taco Bell? Taco Bell actually sounds pretty good. This show brought to you by Taco Time. If Taco Time actually wants to sponsor this show, if anybody knows anybody at Taco Time, please let me know. I'll absolutely do this show for gift certificates. Taco Time is so good. Is there anything else I really want to talk about during this game? Anything you guys think I missed that I'm not going over? I got to tell you, I was really impressed. And yeah, Taco Time not open is a bummer. But I was really impressed with Munoz getting out of that. It helped that he got to face hitters like Brent Phillips and the like, sure. But getting out of that, I think, was a really nice job. And that's why I had so much confidence. You get out of that jam, you get bases loaded, no out, and then you get 3 absolutely pathetic at-bats. Pathetic. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like, is that this might be therapeutic for a few people to kind of just come in. If you guys want to type in a bunch of naughty words, please don't make them too naughty. But if you guys just want to scream or just hold your keyboard down, that's totally fine. I don't blame anybody for doing that. It's what I want to do. It's absolutely what I want to do. Ugh. Here's the scary thing, guys, is that they used all of their high leverage relievers today, and you don't get the win. And tomorrow you've got Brian Wu, and who the heck knows what you're going to get. It's hard to imagine something positive based on how he's looked in these last few. Yeah, Trevor, the numbers say the Mariners have actually been okay with the bases loaded. And it's hard to dispute numbers because they're literally numbers. But there are just some situations where you just watch this team. It's situational hitting. Sometimes it's with the bases loaded. Sometimes it's with second and third. Sometimes it's first and second. Sometimes it's whatever. There's a lot of situational hitting that just stinks on this team. And I think one of the things that hurts is, and I could go on a long tangent about this, and I think everybody knows I am not an anti-analytics guy. I think analytics are an important part of baseball. But WRC plus sometimes is a lie, because a walk with runners on first and third helps you technically, but it's not getting the job done. And if you have runners on first and third, right, and the next guy walks, but the next guy gets out, well, you had a 50% success rate, which in baseball can seem like a good thing. It is, but it's not the goal. It's not ideal. It's not the job. I think that isn't applied enough in that type of stuff. I don't think it gets applied enough. And I know that the numbers are going to tell me that's not true, but I've seen it too many times to think it's nonsense. Chris, how funny it would be if they finished tied for last wild card with Texas, but they get in because they won the season series. Hilarious. Oh, what's funny is I was absolutely rooting for Texas to win today because I think Toronto's scarier. But that loss actually took you out of the playoffs if the season ended today. And thank goodness it didn't. And that's something to be happy about. Because the Mariners have a chance to right this ship. It's just really hard based on what I have seen over these last few weeks to think that things are going to get better anytime soon. Dairy Queen is sponsor. Oh my gosh. Nancy, first of all, thank you for coming in. And also, oh, that sounds so good. A peanut butter parfait after I lost a baseball game as a kid was the ultimate kind of I know I'm shocked that you can see all this and that I ate a lot of peanut butter parfaits as a kid. That was the ultimate feel better treat. DQ has okay burgers. I don't know if I would go under. It depends on how you're rating them. Like, if you think they are nonsense, I disagree with you. If you think they're elite, I disagree with you too. But yeah, I'm going to try and do more of these live chats, by the way. Like, I want to make sure, and this is going to come off super selfish, that I can still monetize these things. I think I can. I'm already going to, just because I need the money. I need the money. But as long as that happens, yeah, I don't see why not. And also, I'm going to do this too. Let's make this announcement now. For at least 7 of the final 10 games, we're going to do live shows during the games. Because here's the reason why we can start doing live stuff. And it was one of the reasons why I wanted to get to 1,000 subscribers so much. Once you get to 1,000 subscribers, you can go live on YouTube. They don't let you go live on YouTube unless you have a certain amount of subscribers. Like, it just doesn't work. So I had to reach that number, and we're going to go live for at least 7 of those final 10. I'm going to try and do all of them. I'm going to have to work out my schedule, but at least 7 of those final 10, and certainly the final Saturday, the final Sunday, we will absolutely go live for. So just be prepared for that. Be prepared for that for sure. Alex asks, do you think management ownership feels like this team is closer to compete than they are? My biggest concern isn't this year, but a coming off season like the last few. Yeah, same for me. And it's not so much that I think that they think they're a complete team. It's that I don't know if they care if they're a complete team. I hate saying that, but I don't think that they absolutely care. If the Mariners, I think, are more okay with seasons like this than they should be. Because this is not the goal, folks. It's cool. If the Mariners sneak into the playoffs and back that truck up, fine. That's cool. I like it. After 21 years of waiting, I'll take back-to-back playoff appearances, what I was trying to say, but experiences works. But this isn't the goal. Can't win on a night the A's beat Houston. Oh my gosh, dude. That honestly might be killing me the most. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of you are saying you're just feeling the pain. I feel the pain too. Yep. The Mariners, according to Forbes, had the most profitable team in baseball last year. That's the goal. Here's the thing. Let me tell you why I disagree with that Forbes article. I disagree that they only made that much money. I absolutely disagree that it was only that much money. And yeah, Matthew, I'm sorry. I'm a capitalist pig. I think winning is part of the goal. I'm not going to go that far. But if you're winning is winning going to be the ultimate goal for this ownership group? I don't think so. I still think ownership was saving up for a big run at Ohtani. Maybe. But here's the thing I want to say. Even if the Mariners do get Ohtani, and I have a lot of doubts that they will, you're going to get the spin that the Mariners didn't spend money to go get Ohtani, and it's nonsense. The Mariners had plenty of money to go get better players and to get Shohei Ohtani. So don't let them get away with that. Don't let them get away with the, oh, you know what? We couldn't go get other outfielders or second basemen because that's nonsense. They could have done both. Hold them accountable. Have his thoughts and prayers for Stanton. He's barely a billionaire. Do you think they will get in the playoffs? Be honest, please. Yes. I still think they're going to make the postseason. I do. I'm a lot less convinced of it than I was a week ago. But I do. I think they're still going to get it. And yep, it wouldn't shock me at all if they get the we tried. Wouldn't shock me one bit. I also saw some people talking to me on the old, whatever they call that website now, and they were talking about the Mariners don't do what they do in August without Canzone and Rojas. I vehemently disagree. They helped, but here's the thing. You could have upgraded at left field and second base without moving your closer, your best high leverage reliever. You still could have done that. It's not like that's the only way you could have upgraded left field and second base. Do I miss Sewald or do you trust Munoz? I miss Sewald, and I still think Munoz has a chance to be a really special reliever, but he's not the same guy as he was last year, and it's not his fault that he's not the same guy last year. He had a bunch of injuries. The command just hasn't come this year. The command just hasn't happened. So do I trust him? I trust him more than I trust Topa at this point, for sure. I trust him more than Brash just because of the Brash command. You know, I hate this get hot at the right time bowl. I wish we could just be hot the entire. Yeah. And here's the thing too. These losses are big and every loss counts, you know. Imagine this team starts out 43-37 instead of 38-42. Imagine. I've heard the same thing, Nelson. I am excited for that Nicolas Cage movie. I'm excited for all Nicolas Cage movies. Sometimes they let me down very much. You think France has to go and upgrade first base? Yeah. Now, I don't know if France has to go. Because France is not exactly the highest paid player in baseball, nowhere close, and because He's pretty darn good against left-handers. I'd love to have him off the bench. He just can't start. Does Sewald really make the sort of difference we want, or is he still more a stable but fringe piece? Somewhere in between that, Zach. Like, Sewald isn't so good. Like, the Mariners' problems aren't solved just by having him. They're not solved, but they're better. I think they're a better team right now with Paul Sewald than with Josh Rojas and Dominic Canzone. As I have said a billion times on this videos, on Mollywop Monday, on, Cat Fancy. I've never actually been on Cat Fancy, but if they want to have me, I'm actually allergic to cats. As I've said a lot of times, good night, Rom. Thank you so much for coming out. A billion times. What the heck was I talking about? I truly don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, the Sewald trade. As I said a billion times, if you make that trade on November 1st, 2022 or November 1st, 2023, it makes a ton of sense. It didn't make sense to me on July 31st. It didn't make sense on July. And that's the thing, Colin, is how do you fix it? How do you fix it? Especially knowing that the bullpen is going to be used so much over these next few games. When 40% of your starts are being made by rookies, that's a problem. That is a big problem. Good point. I think, Matthew, that the stuff is showing more movement for sure. The stuff is showing a lot of more movement. By the way, I'll stay on here for another 10 minutes. I'd really appreciate if you guys hit the like button on these. It really helps the videos. Just hitting that little thumbs up is a helpful one. Thornton, by the way, he got his Hector Noesi on today. He threw one terrific slider, and then he just couldn't finish off hitters. And it's been the biggest issue for Thornton throughout his career. You're going to take a look at that 1.85 ERA. Very misleading, especially today, because none of those runs are earned. Come on. Come on. Yeah, the Seahawks yesterday did not help things. The Seahawks did not help things. I think that's the thing, Nelson, is he'll never admit that. Is that he will never admit that he wasn't convinced this was a playoff team. Yeah, Derek. That's the thing about ERA, especially today. Because, again, no runs count. O'Keefe leaving on paternity leave. Congrats. Yeah, congrats, Brian. Congrats. That's cool. I wonder if they go with Terens. Maybe that's how do I stay sane lately? I'm not. Honest to goodness, I'm not. I mean, I've talked a lot about this too in these videos, right? That I do my very best not to let this team affect my mood, but it's impossible right now. It's impossible. I never take it out on other people. Thank goodness. Because that wouldn't be fair to them, obviously. Congratulations to me on not being a horrible human being. But I'm stewing. I am just stewing. Mike Zunino's available. Mike Zunino's good. Mike Zunino's good. Was Grandma mad? Say hi, Grandma, for her. We were texting, and she was pretty disappointed. She was very excited when Julio hits that home run. Very excited. Should Suarez be starting at third base next year? Great clubhouse, but man, he stinks this year. So here's my thoughts on Eugenio Suarez. And of course, hopefully I don't have to do these videos until like November. But we will go over, and thank you. We love Grandma. Grandma's the absolute best human being in the entire world. So here's my thing with Suarez. He can be back next year. I think he adds enough plus value with the glove for him to be your starting third baseman next year. He cannot be a middle of the order option for you next year. He can't be anything close to a middle of the order option for next year. He's got to hit 7th or 8th next year. He can be back, but he cannot be a middle of the order option next year. And you got to be prepared to upgrade over him too. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's one of the worst defensive plays I've seen a Mariner make this year. He just flat out Olayed that baseball. What do I think about the Astros right now? Are they still the favorite to come out the AL? I mean, if I had to bet money on somebody to win the American League right now, it'd probably be the Astros. Just because I'm not a huge believer in the Baltimore rotation. I'm definitely not a believer in the Tampa Bay rotation, and they got worse for something that I'm not going to talk about. And because it's disgusting, and I am just awful thing. Minnesota's not winning it. Texas isn't winning it. Toronto, I guess, could. Seattle could if they get in. But if I had to bet on somebody, I'd still say that Houston is the favorite. What is your gut telling you? Do the Mariners actually these collapse through and miss playoffs entirely? I don't think so. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of this is just emotionally. I cannot deal with the Mariners not making the postseason. I cannot handle the Mariners making the postseason. Mariners not making the postseason. I can't. It's going to crush me. It's going to break me. But I think that they will right this ship just enough to sneak in. Don't think they're winning the AL West anymore. Do not think that's happening, but I do think they'll get one of the final 2 wild card spots. Bryce Miller for Pasquantino or Miller for Cedric Mullins. This kind of makes sense. He's got to bat 7 or 8 and hope you get 25 homers out of the Bayern lineup. That's exactly right, Matthew. That's what you're hoping for next year. Steven, I ask myself that question all the time, and Grandma and I were talking about this actually today too. How much easier would this be if the Seattle Mariners just stunk? Or we're eating this thing out. Oh, Chris Crawford. That's a no-no. Waiting this thing out for the season to end. Jeff King or Jose Lynn for lower left in the grid. Ooh, always go with Jeff King if you can. Always go with Jeff King. And yeah, I think DePoto's job is at least a little bit in jeopardy if the Mariners collapse at the end of this thing, whether you think he should be or not. But yes, if the Mariners just could have stunk all year, if they're not going to make the postseason, I would have appreciated that. Matthew, Baltimore is probably the best lineup, and they've got a special thing they're going. I just don't know about any of those guys starting postseason games. And I think the loss of Felix Bautista, who might be back by the postseason, is a pretty big one. I just don't see how the pitching is going to all at once get good enough to beat out either the Rangers or Jays for a playoff spot. The whole lineup looks like they're running on empty. Yeah, I totally understand that too. I'm not going to argue with anybody who says that the Mariners aren't making the postseason. Not even a little bit. I think they're going to get in, though. I think they're going to get in. I hope they get in. I don't think Bradish is the second best. Well, Bradish has been really good lately. I just think his lack of bat missing, with all due respect to a last couple of ones, which I've talked about a bunch on RotoWire, I just don't think he has the same type of stuff as Gilbert or Kirby. Would love to have him as my fourth starter or third starter or whatever you call it. Doesn't really matter if having all 4 of those guys would be fun. But yeah, best lineup is Houston. Not sure how Baltimore is winning so many games with that rule. Yeah, I mean, their lineup is so talented. And hey, Matthew, you're 100% right. Being the Angels right now would be not a lot of fun. That's going to turn into an absolute disaster. It's not good right now. And I really hope that they do trade Mike Trout. I hope Mike Trout goes to play for a team. Hey, if he wants to play for the Seattle Mariners, give me Trout and Ohtani. You want to make Trout a rotational DH left fielder? I'm good with that. Well, Tyler, the thing is, the Orioles and Rays just have better player development systems right now. And the Mariners are catching up. But being able to pick at the top of drafts has really helped Baltimore, and the fact that they've done a pretty nice job. Atlanta Astros World Series would be like if somebody put some sort of weapon to my head and you said, "Hey, you gotta pick one." Yeah, that'd be the World Series to pick. No, it's Nelson. I totally get it. In terms of result, especially lately, he's been better. Kirby stunk the last few starts. And I kind of wonder why that's one of the I'm not going to talk about his comments because I'm not going to, but I think that might be it. I think Kirby's worn down. He's easily over his career high in innings. Blue Jays officially done with easy games. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it certainly helps that the schedule for them is so much tough. The Reds have done as good of a job with player development and hitting on players as anybody. And it sucks a little bit that they've done so well because their ownership group, their fans deserve it, but I hate seeing that ownership group rewarded. They're terrible. All right, that's going to do it. I got to get some stuff done. I really appreciate everyone coming to the live chat. Please hit like. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone coming out for this live episode, giving me a chance to get some stuff off of my chest. This was a hoot and holler. I know that's technically a measurement of time, but yeah, maybe we'll do this tomorrow. Hopefully it's after a win, but if we don't do it tomorrow, we'll maybe do it Wednesday after an afternoon game, and more people can come out because it is so late at night. Again, please hit like and subscribe. Follow me on whatever they call that website at Crawford_MILB. Sports Sometimes podcast. Please check that out. My buddy Eric Nussbaum is going to be recording an episode with me on Wednesday. I'm super excited for that. Sportstopia. Please check that out. Just search for in YouTube Sportstopia Fire and Ice and please hit subscribe. Really appreciate it. Love you too, Nelson. Love you, everybody who came out. This was fun, but also life is pain.